Welcome back to another episode of Yamu Growth Lab, where we dissect growth strategies that actually move the needle for SaaS businesses. If you're a business looking to maximize revenue without setting your ad budget on fire, you're in the right place.
Today we're tackling something fundamental yet often misunderstood: customer lifetime value, or LTV. It's one of those metrics that separates high-growth SaaS businesses from those stuck in an endless cycle of acquiring users who never stick around.
Yeah, most SaaS startups are obsessed with customer acquisition. They pour money into paid ads, track conversions religiously, and celebrate every new sign-up. But without a solid LTV strategy, they're just playing an expensive game of churn and burn.
And that's exactly why 80% of SaaS startups fail. Not because they can't acquire users, but because they don't understand how to retain them and maximize their value over time. If your LTV is weak, you're not just wasting money on customer acquisition, you're making growth harder.
Okay, before we get into how to increase LTV, can we define it in practical terms?
Sure. So, customer lifetime value is the total revenue you can expect from a single customer throughout their relationship with your company. A simple way to think about it: take the average revenue per user, multiply it by your gross margin, then divide that by your churn rate.
Think about it this way. If your LTV isn't at least 3 to 5 times your customer acquisition cost, you're running on an unsustainable model, either paying too much to acquire customers or failing to maximize their long-term value. Now, let's get into the real question. How do you increase LTV?
The first and most obvious answer is reducing churn. If customers are leaving too soon, it doesn't matter how much you charge them. They'll never reach their full revenue potential. And churn doesn't just happen out of nowhere. It's often a direct result of poor onboarding, lack of engagement, or misalignment between customer expectations and the actual product experience.
That's where onboarding makes all the difference. Look at Zapier. They've built an automated system that ensures users don't just sign up, but actually start using and benefiting from the product right away.
Yes. Proactive customer engagement is another key retention driver. HubSpot does this incredibly well by sending contextual product tips based on user behavior, helping customers get unstuck before frustration sets in. Because if you're waiting for customers to reach out with a problem, you're already too late.
And that's the difference between surviving and scaling. You can retain customers all day, but if their spend stays flat, you're not maximizing LTV. The smartest SaaS companies know how to turn a single customer into a long-term, high-value revenue source.
This is where Notion excels. They lure users in with a free or low-cost tier, then systematically introduce them to premium features that make the product indispensable. And this is a pattern across high-growth SaaS companies. Expansion revenue is a critical driver of long-term profitability.
Absolutely. That's why companies like Snowflake, which consistently report net revenue retention above 150%, continue to dominate their space. They're not just acquiring customers, they're compounding revenue from existing ones.
And that is why net revenue retention is such a powerful metric. But even the best retention strategies won't save you if your pricing isn't set up right. That's where so many SaaS founders get it wrong. They often price based on what they think customers will pay rather than what their product is actually worth to them.
Salesforce is a great example of getting this right. They charge based on value, not cost, and they understand that different customer segments have different willingness to pay. Startups, they get an affordable entry point. Enterprises, they expect and are willing to pay for premium pricing, dedicated support, and advanced functionality.
Underpricing is a big silent killer of SaaS LTV. If you're not testing different pricing strategies, you're losing out on serious revenue.
We can't talk about LTV without mentioning AI and predictive analytics. The best SaaS companies today aren't just tracking user behavior. They're anticipating it.
Right, and this is where AI changes the game. Instead of reacting to churn after the fact, companies can now predict and prevent it. And when it comes to expansion revenue, AI-driven recommendations feel seamless, making upsells feel like a natural next step rather than a sales pitch.
So let's tie it all together. LTV isn't just a number, it's a reflection of your entire SaaS strategy. If you're struggling with LTV, it means you have gaps in retention, monetization, or pricing. And the best way to fix it isn't by focusing on just one lever, but by optimizing all of them in parallel.
Now, let's make this actionable. Take a moment to calculate your LTV. If it's not where it should be, don't ignore it. This is the metric that determines whether your business thrives or stalls out. Make sure you're optimizing for long-term revenue, not just short-term wins.
If you're not sure where to start, reach out. We love digging into SaaS growth challenges and helping businesses unlock their full revenue potential.
And that's a wrap on today's episode. Send us a message, leave a comment, and make sure to subscribe. See you next time.